TLDR, too long, didn't read. I'm a dyslexic coach who should have her shit together, but the truth is, I missed all my deadlines this week. Let's talk about it. Hey, I'm Natalie, and welcome to the Dyslexia in Adults podcast. I believe that dyslexia is holding you back in your career and impacting your daily life, and ultimately slowly chipping away at your confidence. And I just simply don't think that is good enough. I don't care when you were diagnosed, if your boss is a total dick, or if, like me, you roll your eyes heavily when dyslexia is called a superpower. I know I can change how you feel about your brain. I am a dyslexia and ADHD coach. You would think that my life is perfect. I never make a mistake. I'm basically a saint. I have crushed how to handle my brain. Yeah, I think we both know the truth is not even close to that. So this week, I unfortunately had a bad week. I had a bad disorganization week and everything just started spiraling and snowballing. And so I started sitting there and saying to myself, you're useless, you're so disorganized, you never do things on time, you're such a failure. You know the story. You know the kind of things that we say to each other, the kind of ways that we think about ourselves. And I started falling back into my nasty little habits of the things that I used to say to myself. So this week, I wanted to talk to you about the best accommodation that we are often recommending to dyslexic people, to people with ADHD, to help you make sure you hit your deadlines, make sure you get things sorted on time, and make sure you don't leave the day thinking, oh, I am such a scatty nightmare, like I have this week. So basically, do what I say, not on this occasion, what I did. So first of all, if just to kind of explain a little bit about what that challenge is and that kind of understanding your brain piece. So we know that dyslexic people really struggle with breaking down tasks and understanding all of the elements within that. Also, if you have ADHD and part of the executive functions, time management can feel really frustrating and really difficult. So those two things can often mean that we're hitting deadlines right at the last minute, or that we are struggling to get everything done in the week. And so what we want to look at thinking about is how can we get a better sense of what we've got to do that week and setting reasonable expectations of ourselves. So again, I want to bring you back to my week and where everything went a little wrong. So my friend was coming over on Tuesday and I had so many meetings and loads of work going on, and I was just getting on with what was in front of me, just looking 2 minutes ahead. And then he called me on the way over and said, oh, should we order pizza? And I was like, yes, great, I will do that. Then I look up from my desk and realize my house is a mess. It is a mess. And so obviously, the logical thing to do was to search a pizza, look it up, order it first so that it'd be ready for when he got here. But actually what I ended up doing is panic tidying my house because that felt like the priority. The truth is that I was going to be impacted by ordering the pizza late, but I didn't care in that moment. I didn't understand the prioritization and the breaking down of tasks and the time planning piece of it. So the pizza turned up at 9:30. I felt embarrassed, but the house was tidy. Now, here's the tip I want you to think about. Let's take it back into a little bit of a work context. So when we're thinking about work, what I want you to kind of understand is that it is really challenging for our brains to understand all of the competing priorities and all of the things that happen. And it can feel really exhausting to try and figure out what order things need to be done and when things need to be started. We know that dyslexic people are best when they verbally process things and they're able to break things down quicker and easier. We also know that we struggle to understand time. So utilizing part of your one-on-one meeting to plan things through, think about what's going on, and better structure your week can be really helpful for you. Now, here comes the reframe, because you might be thinking to yourself, okay, Natalie, I'm feeling a bit uncomfortable about having to ask for this, and I'm feeling a bit embarrassed about maybe needing that help. I want you to remember that people just want you to get your work done. They just want you to do well. They just want your deadlines hit, and they don't mind often how it gets done. The most important thing that it happens. So try and change your mentality to 10 minutes to just talk through what you've got going on this week and how you're going to approach it will mean that you hit your deadlines, which is the thing that work really care about. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Dyslexia in Adults podcast. Whether or not this is your first listen or your 100th, I am so grateful that you decided to entrust me with this challenge. If you enjoyed this week's episode, I would really appreciate it if you could review and subscribe to the podcast because it really helps us to reach more people.